with row number 4. And please, when you draw your design and you go to the row, through the rows, make a dot so you know which row you're completing, because I was counting the rows to see where I stopped and where I have to start all over again. So we're finishing off row number 4. And my pattern says that I need to finish with a yellow stitch. And because I need to know if I need to switch colors, I go right away to row 5, and I see that it starts with a brown. So once I crochet the last stitch, I need to switch to the new color to finish off the last stitch of row 4, and then to start with row 5. Now row 5 is a little more difficult in a way that we need to change colors again and again, okay? And this is because as the one zigzag finishes off over here, a new one starts over here, okay? So when we start row 5, I need 1 brown, 2 yellow, 2 brown, 1 yellow, 2 brown, and 2 yellow. So let's see how to do that. Take out your stitch marker to finish row 4 with 1 yellow stitch. Okay, but because the first stitch of the 5th row is a brown, leave down the yellow color and bring up the brown one to finish the last stitch of row number 4. And place again your stitch marker. And now let's start row 5 with 1 brown. And because the brown is only 1, leave the brown color and switch to the yellow one. Okay, so finish the single crochet with the yellow color. And we have 2 yellow, 1, 2, because the second yellow is the last one, leave the yellow yarn and bring up the brown one, okay, and close the single crochet with the brown color. Now work 2 brown, 1, 2, and because this is the last brown, leave the brown yarn, bring up the yellow one, and close the stitch with the yellow color. Okay, now we're going to crochet only 1 yellow, and because it's only 1, we're not going to close with the yellow yarn. Leave down the yellow, bring up the brown, and close the stitch with the brown yarn. Then work 2 brown, 1, 2, and because this is the last one, bring up the yellow yarn and finish the single crochet, and finish the repetitions with 2 yellow. One, and the last stitch 2. Now I have to go right back to see what the first stitch for row 5 is, and because it is a brown, I'm going to leave down the yellow yarn and bring up the brown one. If you're dizzy with those stitches at this point, I feel dizzy as well, okay, because we have to switch the colors a lot throughout row 5. So let's start the repetitions all over again. Before we do that, I need to check if the stitches that I just worked are a total of 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so the first repetition is done, and then we're going to start the second one by starting with 1 brown. Okay, switch colors. 2 yellow. 1, 2, switch colors. Okay, so we have 1 brown, 2 yellow, 2 brown, 1 and 2, then 1 yellow, so switch colors, Okay, one yellow, because the yellow is only one, switch right away. Okay, one yellow, two brown and two yellow. One, two brown and two yellow. One, next stitch, two. And because the first stitch of the repetition is a brown, I'm going to switch colors. Okay, so keep repeating those steps. One brown, two yellow, two brown, one yellow, two brown, and two yellow all around. Now, once I reach the end, I need to see how row 5 is being done, and the last two stitches are yellow, so the last stitch is a yellow. And I need to go and check how row 6 starts. And because row 6 starts with a brown, I need to finish the last stitch on the stitch marker with a yellow, and right away I need to switch to my new color to work the first two brown stitches of row 6. So once I reach the stitch marker, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to finish row 5 and how to start row 6. I'm almost done crocheting row 5, okay, but before we continue, let's see how row 5 ends and how row 6 begins. Okay, so here is the end of row 5 where I finish with two yellow. So the last stitch in row 5 is yellow, but the first stitch in row 6 is a brown. So once I crochet the last stitch on the stitch marker, I'm going to change to my new color. I'm going to switch to brown as well. Okay, so let's finish row 5 and start row 6. Oh, and before I continue, for row 6 we have two brown, two yellow, three brown, two yellow, and one brown. And then I start repeating the whole row all over again with two brown, so it's going to seem as I have three brown in a row. Okay, three brown, three brown, three brown. So I have to remember how the row goes a little bit, just so I don't have to change colors without reason. Okay, just so because we finish with one brown in the end of the repetitions, that doesn't mean that we necessarily have to switch to the new color. So we have to remember a little bit how the pattern goes. So let's start row 6, okay? So my last stitch, I'm going to take out my stitch marker. My last stitch is a yellow, and I'm going to bring up the brown color. Okay, and bring up the brown because row 6 starts with two brown. So place again your stitch marker so you know where is your last stitch of the row. Okay, and let's start crocheting row 6. So two brown, one, two, and since this is the last brown, switch colors and finish this stitch with a yellow. So two brown, two yellow, one and two, bring up the brown and close your stitch with the brown color. So we have two brown, two yellow, now three brown, one, two, and three, switch colors. So three brown and continue with two yellow and one brown. One, two yellow, so switch colors, and one brown. And I'm not switching colors because if I recall, the beginning of the row says that I need to start with two brown. So I'm going to continue with the two more brown and then we're going to switch. Just to make sure we have crocheted correctly, let's count our stitches. 2, 4 plus 3, 7, plus 2, 9, plus 1, 10. So let's start the repetitions all over again. 2 brown, 1, next stitch, 2, switch colors, 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch colors, 3 brown, 1, 2, 3, switch colors. So 3 brown, then continue with 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch colors, and 1 brown. And because I know that when I start the repetitions all over again, I'm going to need 2 more brown, I'm not switching colors. So keep repeating those steps all around. Okay, so 2 brown, 2 yellow, 3 brown, 2 yellow, and 1 brown all around. And as you see, the zigzags that we started with have started to close. We are almost done. In the next row, we're going to have the point up here. And the new zigzags have started to form down here. Okay, so this is going to start closing up like this. Okay, so once I finish my row, I'm going to turn my video back on. I'm almost done with the 6th row, and I have also changed color because my last stitch, I know that it's going to be a brown. But before we close the row, we have to go and check in our pattern to see. We finished row 6 with 1 brown, we know that. And then I'm going to go right away to the beginning of row 7 to see if I need to change colors or not. And because row 7 has 1 yellow in the beginning, I'm going to change colors right away. And the pattern that we're going to repeat all around for row 7 is 1 yellow, 2 brown, 2 yellow, 1 brown, 2 yellow, and 2 brown. And then repeat all over again. So let's finish row 6. Take out your stitch marker. Okay. Work the last stitch, which is 1 brown. And because the first stitch is a yellow, I'm going to switch right away. So close the stitch with your yellow. Again, attach your stitch marker so you know that this is the last stitch of the row. Okay. And now, row 7 has 1 yellow. So 1 yellow, so I'm going to switch right away. 2 brown. 1, 2, switch colors. Then 2 yellow. Sorry. 2 yellow. Switch colors. 1 brown. 'Switch colors. 2 yellow and 2 brown. 1, 2 yellow, switch colors, and 2 brown. 1 and 2. Okay, and switch to yellow. because I remember that the first stitch of the repetitions for this row is one yellow. So we have to remember the first stitch a little bit, okay? So you know how to change your colors. So let's go ahead and count the stitches here to make sure they're 10. 1 plus 2, 3, 2, 5, 6, and 2, 8, and 2, 10. So we're going to start the repetitions all over again. So we have one yellow. So switch your colors right away. Okay, one yellow, two brown, one, two brown, switch your colors. Okay, two yellow, one, two yellow, switch your colors. One brown, so switch your colors. Okay, two yellow, one, two, switch, and two brown. One and two, and I'm going to switch because the first stitch of the repetitions is a yellow. Okay, so this is how my pattern looks like at this point. The first zigzags that I start, they closed up, okay, so this one brown is the finishing stitch to close the point up here. And my new zigzags have started to form. So keep repeating those 10 stitches all around. Once I finish, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to finish row 7 and how to start row 8. We are almost done row 7. So again, let's bring up our pattern. And I want to see how row 7 ends and how row 8 begins. So row 7 ends with two brown, so my last stitch is a brown. And right away after my last stitch, I'm going to switch colors because the first stitch of row 8 is a yellow. So, okay, so once we finish, we're going to turn to row 8 with yellow. And row 8 goes as follows. Two yellow, two brown, three yellow, two brown, and one yellow. And because I go right away and I start with two yellow, throughout the row it's going to seem as we have three yellow in a row, okay? So again, two yellow, two brown, three yellow, two brown, and one yellow. So let's start row 8. Well, let's finish row 7 first. Okay, so take out your stitch marker. And I have already worked my one out of the two brown that I need to finish the row, okay? And the last stitch is a brown. And close the stitch with the yellow because row 8 starts with yellow. So place your stitch marker. Okay, so I have my two brown stitches in the end of the row. So now start row 8 with two yellow, one, two, switch colors, two brown, one, two, switch, three yellow, one, two, three, and switch. So three yellow, two brown, and switch. And finish the repetition with one yellow. And I'm not changing color because I remember that the first stitch for the repetition is a yellow. So let's count our stitches to make sure they're 10. So 2, 4, plus 3, 7, plus 2, 9, plus 1, 10. So let's start the repetitions all over again with 2 yellow, 1 and 2, switch, 2 brown, 1 and 2, switch, 3 yellow, 1, 2, 3 and switch, 2 brown, 1 and 2, switch, and finish the repetition again with 1 yellow. And because I know that the beginning of the repetition is a yellow again, I'm not switching colors. Okay, so this is how the design is coming out. So see how the new zigzag has started to open up over here, and it's going to start closing at this point here. So keep repeating those 10 stitches all around. Before I reach the end, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to finish row 8 and how to start row 9. I'm almost done with row 8. Okay, I have worked my 2 brown and have switched color because my last stitch is a yellow. So, finishing row 8, I know that my last stitch is a yellow, and I have to go back to row 9 to see what color I'm going to start with. And because I'm going to start with a brown, right away when I work my last yellow, I'm going to switch to brown. And the stitches that we're going to repeat are 1 brown, 2 yellow, 2 brown, 1 yellow, 2 brown, and 2 yellow. Okay, and then all over again, 1 brown, okay, 2 yellow, 2 brown, 1 yellow, 2 brown, and 2 yellow. Now, see here the 1 brown that we're starting with. Now this is the last zigzag with brown color that's going to start forming. As this one is start closing up, a new one is going to start forming as we go through those rows. Okay, so let's start. So let's finish row 8. So take out your stitch marker. And work your last stitch being a yellow. Okay, and right away switch because your first stitch is a brown. So this is the last stitch for row 8. So place your stitch marker again. And we are going to start with row 9. Okay, so 9 starts with 1 brown. So switch right away. 1 brown, 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch, 2 brown, 1, 2, and switch, 1 yellow, so switch right away, 2 brown and 2 yellow, 1, 2 brown, switch, and 2 yellow, 1 and 2. And because I know that the first row again from starting the repetition is a brown, I'm going to switch my colors. So let's count the stitches to make sure they're right. So 1 plus 2 3 plus 2 5 6 2 8 and 2 10. So start the repetitions all over again and go ahead and work 1 brown. So switch right away. 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch, 2 brown, 1, 2, and switch, 1 yellow, switch right away, okay, and finish with 2 brown and 2 yellow. 1, 2 brown, switch, and 2 yellow. 1 and 2, and I'm switching because the first stitch of the repetition again is going to be a brown. So see how it started to form? So those little dots in the center are the new zigzag that's going to start forming over here as this one closes up. Okay, so keep repeating those 10 stitches. Once I reach almost here at the end, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to finish row 9 and how to start row 10. I'm almost done with row 9, but as always we have to check our pattern first. I know that I'm going to finish with 2 yellow. I have already worked the first one and the last one is going to be on my stitch marker. I have to see though how row 10 starts. So in row 9 I'm going to finish with 2 yellow. Okay, I'm going to finish with the yellow one on the stitch marker, and row 10 starts with brown. So right away when I work my last stitch I'm going to have to switch to brown. In row 10 we will have 2 brown, 2 yellow, 3 brown, 2 yellow, and 1 brown. And because I'm going to go right away and start all over with 2 brown, I'm going to have 3 brown stitches throughout the row. Okay, so 2 brown, 2 yellow, 3, 2, 1, and all over again with 2 brown. So let's finish row 9 and let's start row 10. Okay, so take out your stitch marker and work the last stitch for row 9, which is going to be a yellow, and switch because row 10 starts with brown. Place again your stitch marker on your last stitch. Okay, so let's start row 10 with 2 brown, 1, 2, switch, 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch, 3 brown, 1, 2, 3, switch, 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch, and 1 brown. And because I remember that row 10 starts with brown, I'm not going to switch colors. So let's count. We have 2, 4, and 3, 7, and 2, 9, and 1, 10. So start the repetitions all over again with 2 brown, 1 and 2, switch, 2 yellow, 1, oops, 2, so I'm going to switch, okay, 3 brown, 1, 2, 3, and switch, okay, 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch, and 1 brown to finish the repetition. And because I know that I'm going to work 2 more brown to start the repetitions all over again, I'm not switching my colors. So see how this pattern looks like at this point? The next row will be the last row to close up the zigzag, the second brown one. And here we have the third and last brown one to start create. Okay, so keep repeating those 10 stitches all around. Once I reach the end, I'm going to turn my video to see how to finish row 10 and how to start row 11. I'm almost done with row 10. I have switched colors because the last stitch of row 10 is 1 brown. Okay, and as always, before we start, I have to see how row 10 ends, and we end with 1 brown. And row 11 starts with 1 yellow. So right away, once I finish my last stitch, I'm going to switch to yellow. And row 11 goes as follows: 1 yellow, 2 brown, 2 yellow, 1 brown, 2 yellow, 2 brown, and then all over again from the beginning. So let's start. So take out your stitch marker to finish row 10 with 1 brown. But I have to switch right away because row 11 starts with yellow. Okay, again, place your stitch marker. Okay, and start row 11 with 1 yellow. So switch. Then 2 brown, 1, 2, switch, 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch, 1 brown, and this is the peak of this zigzag. Okay, so 1 brown, switch, and then 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch, and 2 brown, 1 and 2. And because I recall that the first stitch of the repetition is a yellow, I switch colors. So this is the 10 stitches that we're going to follow in this row. So let's count 1 and 2, 3 and 2, 5, 6, 8, 10. So we have our 10 stitches. Okay, so let's start all over again with 1 yellow. Sorry, 1 yellow, so switch right away. 1 yellow, 2 brown, 1, 2, switch, 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch, 1 brown, so this is the peak of this zigzag as well. So 1 brown, switch, and finish with 2 yellow and 2 brown. So 1, 2 yellow and switch, and 2 brown. 1 and 2. And because I know the first stitch is a yellow, I switch. So keep repeating those 10 stitches all around. Once I reach again in the end, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I'm almost done with row number 11, and as always, we're going to see how row 11 ends and how row 12 starts. Okay, so here is row 11, and the last stitch is going to be 1 brown. And I'm going right away in row 12, and the first stitch is a yellow. So right away when I finish my last stitch, I'm going to switch to yellow. And row 12 goes as follows: 2 yellow, 2 brown, 3 yellow, 2 brown, 1 yellow. And I'm going to go right ahead and repeat from the beginning: 2 yellow, 2 brown, 3 yellow, 2 brown, 1 yellow. And because I finish the repetition and I start with yellow, I'm going to have 3 yellow together throughout the row. Okay, so let's see how to finish row 11. So take out your stitch marker. Okay, my last stitch is a brown, and switch colors. Place your stitch marker again on your last stitch. And let's start row 12 with 2 yellow. Okay, starting from the first stitch. 1, 2, switch colors. 2 brown. 1 and 2, switch colors. 3 yellow. 1, 2, 3, switch. 2 brown. 1 and 2, switch colors, and 1 yellow. And because I remember that the beginning of the repetitions are 2 yellow, I'm not going to switch colors because I'm going to continue with yellow. So let's count our stitches: 2, 4, 7, and 2, 9, and 1, 10. So now we're going to do the repetitions all over again, and we're going to do 2 yellow, 1, 2, switch. 2 brown. 1 and 2, switch. 3 yellow. 1 2 3, switch. 2 brown. 1, 2, switch. And the last stitch is a yellow. Okay, so keep repeating those steps. See how the last brown zigzag has started to form, and the yellow one over here, it's now gonna close. In the next row, we're gonna work the last for this yellow zigzag, and then we're gonna continue switching colors up until we finish the brown one as well. Okay, so keep repeating those 10 stitches all around. Again, before I reach the end, I'm gonna turn my video back on to see how to finish row 12 and how to start row 13. I'm almost done crocheting row 12, and let's see how we're going to continue. So this is row 12, where I'm going to finish with 1 yellow, okay? And right away I go to row 13, and because I'm going to start with yellow, I am not going to switch colors, okay? I'm going to continue with yellow. And row 13 will go as follows: 3 yellow, 2 brown, 1 yellow, 2 brown, 2 yellow. And because I'm going to go right away to crochet again 3 yellow, I'm going to be having 5 yellow in between the brown zigzags. Okay, so let's finish row 12. So I have already switched my color. Okay, go ahead and work your last yellow for row 12, and I'm not switching because we're starting with yellow. Okay, and start row 13 with 3 yellow. So 1, 2 and 3. Switch colors. 2 brown, 1 and 2. Switch colors. 1 yellow, so switch your color right away. 2 brown, 1, 2, switch. And then we're going to crochet 2 yellow to finish the repetitions. 1 and 2. And because I know that I'm going to start my repetitions with yellow again, I'm not switching colors. So let's count our stitches. 3 and 2, 5, 6, 8 and 2, 10. So let's start the repetitions all over again. And I'm going to start with 3 yellow, 1, 2, 3 and switch. 2 brown, 1 and 2, switch. 1 yellow and switch right away. 2 brown, 1 and 2 and switch, and finish the repetition with 2 yellow, 1 and 2. And because we're starting the repetitions with yellow all over again, I'm not switching colors. So this is how my design looks like at this point. So keep repeating those 10 steps all around, and again, before I reach the end, I'm going to turn my video back on. We're almost done with row 13, and let's see how we're going to close and start row 14. So row 13 ends with a yellow, okay, and row 14 starts with a yellow as well. So I'm not going to switch colors to start the new row. And as you see here, row 14 goes as follows: 4 yellow, 3 brown, and 3 yellow. And then I go all over again from the beginning: 4 yellow, 3 brown, and 3 yellow. And because after the 3 yellow, I start my repetitions again with 4 yellow, I'm going to have 7 yellow in between. Okay, so the pattern is going to seem like this: 3 brown, 7 yellow, 3 brown, 7 yellow, all around. This is how it's going to seem. Okay, but we always repeat those 10 stitches over here. So let's close row 13. So take out your stitch marker. And finish the 13th row for our design. And we're not switching because row 14 starts with a yellow. Okay, so place again your stitch marker. And row 14 starts with 4 yellow. So one, 2, 3, and 4. Switch colors. 3 brown, 1, 2, and 3. Switch colors, and finish the row with 3 yellow. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. And because I know that this row starts with yellow, I'm not switching colors. So let's count our stitches. 4 yellow plus 3, 7, plus 3, 10. So start the repetitions all over again with 4 yellow, 1, 2, 3 and 4, switch colors, 3 brown, sorry, 1, 2 and 3, switch colors, and finish the repetitions with 3 yellow. 1, 2 and 3. And because I know that starting from the beginning I'm going to work 4 more yellow, I'm not switching colors. So this is how our pattern looks like at this point. Okay, so in the next row it's going to be the last row for our design. Okay, the brown zigzags are going to close up, and then we're going to continue with solid color. So let's continue all around. Okay, before I reach the end again, I'm going to turn my video back on.